G'day guys, and welcome back to another Aussie Investing Machine live stream. Thank you so much for joining me again this Wednesday night. I hope you're all well and have had a good week so far and enjoyed the day off yesterday if you did have it for Australia Day. In this live stream, lots to talk about. You've seen a couple of the stocks in the preview. Some of those were ones that were requested last live stream, so I'll be going over all of those in detail and keeping you up to date with the latest market news. Lots been happening as per usual, so really keen to get this one going, have a chat with you guys and answer all of your questions. As per usual, if you've got questions, feel free to start asking them now. I will get to every single one of them, so yeah, keen to hear what you've got to say this week. Really excited for this one. We've got a couple of US stocks to look at, and then also one Australian stock which had a ripper week last week, and that one was Archer. AXE is their ticker code on the ASX. So what I'll do, I'll probably jump into my slideshow presentation which I've got. I'll start running through those few companies that we'll talk about, and then I'll start fielding your questions along the way. If there's any stocks you'd like me to make a video on coming up in the future, please let me know. Love to hear your suggestions and thoughts. Certainly have found a lot of really cool stocks through your suggestions. Most notably, the ones I've loved researching were the space stocks we talked about a couple of videos ago. And then someone mentioned Palantir, I think maybe last live stream. Made a video on that, and wow, what a great reception that video's had. So yeah, thanks for joining, King Korean. Always great to see you here. Yes, Snowflake, probably a stock that's worth making a video on. It's very similar to another one called Datadog in the US. They are comparable stocks, and yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, let's do it. I'll just share my screen. Bear with me. Alrighty. Hopefully you can all see that okay. I'll just put this into full screen mode. Awesome. Okay, so let's get rolling. So 3M is the first stock I wanted to talk about this week. Ticker code MMM. I think they're on the New York Stock Exchange. So their stock price peaked at the end of 2017. That was their last all-time high, sort of in December, coming into January 2018. Reading a few articles about the company just to get a bit of background. Obviously, we all know 3M. You would have seen 3M in so many products that we have here in Australia, but obviously it's an American company. But I think something like 60%, yeah, it says there 60% of their sales are to international markets. So we see 3M in adhesive products, in building products. They make tapes, all kinds of different very useful things, but it ranges from sort of construction all the way to pharmaceuticals. So they've got a really broad range of purposes that their products can fulfill. So in a Barron's article I saw, it says this stock is stuck. The problem for 3M could be that things are too stable. Its dividends were maintained and raised through the financial crisis circa 2010 and also through the pandemic. So I've got a little bit of information about their dividends coming up, which is probably the most impressive part about the company. I know one of my favorite dividend investors on YouTube, Joseph Carlson, is a big holder of 3M, and they pay a very regular, very healthy dividend. So certainly if you're a dividend investor or a dividend growth investor, this could be a great stock for you. Obviously, none of the recommendations or none of the discussion in this live stream are buy recommendations. Obviously, do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making any investment decisions. As I said, 60% of sales to international markets proves that they're a strong exporter and that there's global demand for their product, which is a great asset to have. And their quarter 4 earnings actually provided a surprise increase in Q4 of about 8.6%. That's Q4 2020. So we'll move on to the next slide. So looking at their revenue, this is a snapshot I pulled out of the Self-Wealth comparison or analyst site. My broker is Self-Wealth. It's a great broker to use. Their tools are really user-friendly. Not sponsored by Self-Wealth or anything, but I think they're good value. So you can see their revenue has sort of been all over the place, and we can see that noticeable impact coming into 2019, 2020 not showing in full there yet, but it's not what you'd be looking for in a growth company, certainly. But if we move forward, we can see their earnings per share growth has been mediocre, sort of around that 5% mark, which we know, well, certainly my criteria for a growth stock is something like 15% minimum earnings per share growth. So at 5%, you're not expecting massive growth in the capital value of the stock, that's for sure. So this is a chart, shows us the stock price compared to the dividend payout and then the dividend yield. So I think the key thing to look at here is the dividend payout has been super steady in its increase, and it's kind of getting a little bit steeper, certainly compared to 2012 to 2014. Nice dividend stock. Market price has been okay, but since that sort of high at the end of 2017, it's really lost a bit of momentum, and the dividend yield has been steadily increasing, which is good. It's looks like a really good dividend stock in my eyes, but probably not a dividend stock with a lot of growth potential. So that's a wrap on 3M. Let me just check the comments. King Korean, keen to watch the Palantir video. I own their stock, but a shady company. Yeah, definitely. I've seen, because Demo Day has been and gone, and I'm struggling to find a good source to see a replay, but I did see a few snippets and it looked interesting. Pretty much a guy from the company using the software on screen, so that gives us a little bit more insight than we've had in the past. Have you read any articles or watched the public presentation? Yeah, so exactly what I was talking about. From the small part I saw, it looked really in-depth, so we'll see how the stock price is affected, I guess, tonight when the market reopens. But I think we saw during the day before, it lost 2% or something, so not that good. But after the presentation, who knows? I mean, I saw a lot of articles, people saying, how to day trade to Demo Day. A lot of sort of interest in that sort of respect, which is it's not a long-term investing approach, but how could you predict which way that would go? Don't know. Nico, I know 3M sandpaper and masks for sure. Do you use those at work? Maybe. I certainly have, and they're masks. Wow. Well, you would expect their growth during the pandemic to be a little bit better, perhaps, as a mask manufacturer. But they make some high quality products which are used, pretty broadly around the world. So, 100% good company, good dividend company. I'll just jump into Archer and I'll come back to the comments. Bear with me. So Archer Materials, we saw had a massive price jump last week, and I saw a lot of happy people who've sort of been holding on to the company for a while now, and have had some reward for hanging on, which is really cool. So congrats if that was you. Some background: the company is primarily focused on developing its advanced materials and mineral exploration business. So this is cool. We'll get to it in a second. The advanced materials business is focused on 3 areas: quantum technology, human health, and reliable energy. The company is focused on developing and commercializing electronic devices with the potential for room temperature quantum computing. So just jump into the next one. We saw, as I said, that stock price go up like crazy, and the reason for this was that they had filed their first patent for a quantum computing chip. So there's a snippet of the announcement. So a Japanese patent, which is, I think, one of the world's, it's like a patent powerhouse. They really pump through them, and it's really widely respected. Granted, Archer's 12CQ quantum computing qubit processor chip. If I'm not saying qubit right, let me know for sure. I think that might be how it is, but let me know. Major commercial milestone achieved with the grant of a patent protecting that chip technology and a top 5 global economy. And then Archer is one of the few key players developing the qubit processor chip in an emerging multi-billion-dollar quantum computing industry. So quantum computing is in its infancy still. I saw there was a good sort of timeline in one of Archer's investor presentations, which showed the development of computing sort of from the 70s all the way up until roughly 2019. And I think from 2010, really, we saw the most development in quantum computing. And now it's starting to ramp up more and more. I forget the exact name of it, but there's a law of computing which used to apply, which was, I think, speed of computers doubled in speed every 2 years or 3 years. If you know the name of that rule, drop a comment, but that no longer applies. So the rate at which we're shrinking processing devices and reducing the die size in nanometers has slowed up. And we've all seen that. If you've got a phone from 2016, 17, it's still okay. You can use it. And same with the computer. I think the computer I'm using at the moment, probably built it 5 years ago, and have been editing 4K on it, albeit slowly. Might be time for an upgrade soon, but it could do it. So there needs to be another leap in computing if we want to keep progressing, and quantum technology promises to do that. So a little more about Archer. So the stock price movement was huge. As we all know, you can see it there going from 52 up to 83, so about a 60% increase. Awesome little gain there, and it's sort of held at around that point as well, which is promising. So one key highlight of 2020 was the following. So they signed a quantum computing agreement with IBM. We all know IBM, massive global computing giant, which supports Archer's plans to use one of its kits as a software stack for the 12CQ chip technology, and join the invite-only global IBM Q network as an ecosystem partner. So I thought that was a really important point. They're not competing against IBM, they're involved, but they've got their own intellectual property. So they're the first Australian company building a qubit processor chip. So they're the only player on the ASX, which is part of this invite-only IBM network, which is really awesome. Whether or not they're a substantial player, I'm yet to sort of research that in enough detail. Who are the other players and what part does Archer really play? I'm not sure. I'd need to make an in-depth video and do some research on that. If that's something you'd like to see, definitely hit the like button on this video and leave me a comment, because this company's certainly got me interested. Even with the stock price rise, it's still tiny little market cap, and certainly has a long way to go if they can really crack quantum computing, or at least be part of the ecosystem that does. So as I said at the bottom of this slide, frustratingly, I couldn't get any information on the company's proposed timeline. They talk a lot about pathways to commercialization and commercialization timelines in their annual report and investor material, but I can't see any dates. They're not saying, like some of the miners we've been looking at recently, they sort of go, by 2023, we want to have a processing plant completed, and then by 2025, we think we'll be profitable. No such guidance from Archer. The other interesting thing about this company is the fact that they've got this focus on quantum computing, but they also mine as well. They're a miner. They're providing minerals, and that's a really strange business mix in my opinion. Could it work? Absolutely. I can't see from a high level perspective, I can't see what the advantage is, but I know some of their medical products are like printed graphene. So except for having a price advantage in manufacturing their technology, I don't really see why else you'd want to do that. Wouldn't you rather focus your business's capital on the thing you're good at? And at the moment, it looks like it's the quantum computing that's driving that price movement. So before I move on, I'll see what questions we've got on Archer. Let me see if I can pull some out. Josh, Moore's Law, Thank you very much. That's what it's called. So Moore's law, I think, let's have a quick look. Was it every 2 years or 3 years? Moore's law. Yeah, the number of transistors on a computer chip was doubling about every 18 to 24 months. So at the moment, and they measure this by the nanometers. So you have like a 24 nanometer chip, and that used to be the best. And then there's a 12 nanometer chip. So I think if we look at like smallest nanometer chip, 5 nanometer. So we're done. You know, we were at 12 a couple of years ago. We're at 5 now. That, and that's IBM's. What quantum computing allows you to do is get even smaller. So that's the deal. We know that the real benefits we're seeing in computing technology is like Apple's new M1 processor, and that's really killing it at the moment. It's so fast, and the reason it's so fast is not because of its raw processing power. It's because of the software and hardware relationship and the fact that they are coding programs specifically for one chip. On an Intel system, you've got one processor that needs to deal with a multitude of applications, and those applications need to deal with a multitude of processors, so they're just not as efficient. So at the moment, manufacturers are finding efficiencies, and some of them have huge gains, like the Apple M1 silicon. However, there's only so many efficiencies you can find until you need a better technology. So that's a little bit on that. What else have we got? So Nico, I'll get to your question there on B-Bus in a bit. King Korean, I'll get to you in a bit. Pat, do we know when 3M's next report is? They make face masks. So yeah, so I think Q4 just came out, so it won't be for a little while. Yeah. Pat, your question on quantum computing is how widely used it will be, as it seems to have very specific uses. Computers will probably end up using transistor chips with a quantum chip expansion card. Yeah, so I don't know. I probably need to do some more research in that area to understand, but I think the key thing that they're harping on about in Archer's investor material, is the fact that they want to bring room temperature quantum computing to life. So room temperature, I think, is the key there. I think what you're saying is those specific users at the moment are in very controlled environments, and a company has to pay a lot of money for a specialized team to run, whether it's looking at forecasting of virus spread. I remember the Victorian government was saying that they'd gone to some supercomputers to get the virus spread calculations done, and maybe it's those sort of applications at the moment, but it's not really usable at room temperature, which means you can't put it in a device at home. So I think that's what they're working towards. Aracha mining graphite? No, I'm not sure, but I saw that they print graphite semiconductor devices, so I presume they are, but don't quote me on that. I need to do my research, as we all should. But yeah, that would make sense because they can vertically integrate processing it into graphene, and possibly, yeah, that's right. I think that's what it is. It's this vertical supply chain that they're trying to achieve. So Ron, is Archer value for money at the moment? So the first thing I'd look at, and let's do that together, I would go to Yahoo, and we'll type in Archer materials, and I'm just going to look at on the chart and review their moving average. So pull up the indicators, moving average. We'll change the interval to 1 week. Yeah, so this moving average trend line shows you the 1 week moving average, and this jagged line is the actual stock price. So one of the ways to do technical analysis on the right entry or exit time from a stock is to look at how the stock price is responding, or how it relates to the moving average. So the ideal time to buy is to wait until the price has gone down below the moving average. I can actually draw on this to make it a bit easier. So the ideal time to buy would be when the stock price goes down. If I got a better piece of equipment, doodle, that's what I want. So ideal time to buy is when the stock price goes below, and then you wait and it starts to recover, and when it breaks back through the moving average, that just there is the ideal time to buy, when it crosses back through the moving average. Now that's one of 3 indicators which we use to try and identify the best entry point into a stock, so that your next couple of months results in gains. It's not foolproof, but it works a lot of the time. I've got an in-depth video up on Skillshare. If you haven't had a look, it's in all of my descriptions, so make sure to check that out. If you haven't already, you can sign up for free, and I go over at the end of that course how to time your entry into a stock if you're interested in that. So if I have a look at Northern Star, for example, which I bought recently, see if I can pull that up. If my computer's nice to me, there we go. So Northern Star, I was a little bit trigger happy. I thought it was going to bust back through the line, and that's when I should have been more patient and waited until it did. But it looks like it's getting to that point anyway. So when that breaks through the moving average line, that's when you want to buy. So they're my thoughts, and we saw that Archer was sort of way above that moving average, so it looks like it's a little bit hot at the moment. It doesn't mean that it will go down, but if you're patient, usually there's a good buy point, unless the stock's Afterpay or Tesla. But we have seen, having said that, we have seen Afterpay drop below their moving average. I'll show you this. Afterpay Limited. That's not ASX. This one is. Cool. So this was the last buy signal for Afterpay where it was good value. So this was back in March, so pandemic, but it was still a buy according to the moving average rule. In April 26th, it broke through, and then once it broke through, it didn't come back. That's the gist of it. So any other comments there? Yeah, Ron, so that's that. I'll move on to Snowflake, and then I'll get to some of the other questions. So Snowflake, some background on this company. So it's a cloud data platform provider. The company's platform enables customers to consolidate data into a single source to drive business insights, build data-driven applications, and share data. So its cloud data platform supports a multi-cloud strategy, including a cross-cloud approach to mix and match cloud. So that means you might be using Amazon Web Services, and you might also be using like Microsoft OneDrive, and you've got data on both. Snowflake allows you to integrate both into the one system. So you might have one part of the business that prefers to use a certain piece of cloud software and another that uses a different one, and you can combine those using their software. So their business model is very comparable to Datadog, as I mentioned before, and both aim to break down these silos associated with cloud computing. And the silo is a reference to a silo holds grain, and different silos keep different types of grain separated so they don't touch each other. And this is, as we said, trying to integrate that all together. Snowflake stock has more than doubled its price since its IPO last September, and Datadog's done even better. It's actually quadrupled since it had its IPO in September 2019. So Snowflake uses consumption-based pricing, and this is what you can see a quote from their CFO there, and this is their business model is a key differentiator for us. So you might have like an enterprise plan that Amazon charges for their cloud service, and that enterprise deal or price might apply to a big organization, a medium size, and a small, and they all have to pay the same fee. That's my understanding. Whether or not there's any bargaining available, depending on how big your business is, I'm not sure. But Snowflake will only charge you for what you use, which is, I think it's enticing to smaller companies. Maybe a bigger company gets better value from a fixed price, but it's certainly different to what other people are doing at the moment. And that's one of their key differences between them and their competitors. And then I've got a note here. I can see a comparison between ASX Megaport trading as MP1, and I've got a video on Megaport that not many people watched actually, but I thought it was a really interesting company to look at and a really sort of cutting edge company. Megaport comes to a big business that wants fast connection to the internet, and where it's quite expensive to go through Telstra or the NBN, Megaport will say, look, we'll give you a direct link to one of our data centers that might be nearby. They'll install the data or the fiber cable to their data center, and their data center has direct undersea links to the big cloud computing providers like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and this enables for a blistering speed. And I think one of the examples I gave in the video, which they have in their investing materials, is Queensland Airport. So Queensland Airport wants to be cutting edge, and they want to offer all people who are waiting for their flight free Netflix on their internet. And you can imagine if you've got, you know, a couple of thousand people in an airport all watching Netflix at the same time, that takes a huge amount of data and a very fast connection to fulfill that level of consumption. And Megaport can just go, yep, no worries, we'll sort it out for you. And that's unique, and that's their business model. And they've got a lot of customers, and I think it's a really promising product, and it's not dissimilar to how Snowflake works, because Megaport will also help you manage your data across different cloud services, and Megaport has their own cloud sort of data management service as well, where they combine all of these cloud service providers, very similar to Snowflake, and they're relatively cheap in comparison. If we have a look at Snowflake's price and market cap, it's huge. You know, Snowflake's $280, market cap of 79 billion. And then if we look at Megaport, you're looking at $13, and you're looking at a market cap of 2 billion. So it's still reasonably large, but certainly seems to be, it's hard to make a direct value comparison, but it doesn't seem to have the hype and popularity around it that Snowflake does, and that leads me to believe that it's probably better value, but you'd need to run your numbers. What is the growth in earning per share? What is the growth in revenue? What's the balance sheet looking like? Are they getting into debt? You need to do the full exercise. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. But I like Megaport. NextDC is similar, but Megaport's got that sort of software advantage that they offer. So yeah, I think that might be all I had on Snowflake. So I couldn't research it as much as I wanted. Just didn't have the time, and it might be worth its own video, maybe a Snowflake Datadog video. If you'd like to see that, certainly let me know. Ron, what Yahoo site? Just Yahoo Finance, and then you can click the chart tab and you can add all kinds of indicators. So okay, cool. So I've got to go back in time and have a look. King Korean, so we're putting all our money into GME. Let me have a look at GME. So GME Resources. Oh, that's the one that Elon tweeted about, isn't it? I saw something on that. Yeah, I'm in on it now. Yeah, but didn't Musk tweeted something the other day? Was it use Signal, that messaging app, and it just went crazy? Yeah. GME. Is that, yeah, ASX as well. 13% up. Is that, what do they produce? Nickel cobalt. Yeah, so someone mentioned, might have been you, King Korean, someone mentioned last live stream that Tesla and Elon, for that matter, are looking to invest in like clean and renewable sources of nickel and copper. Is that something GME offer? Maybe we could have a look. Yeah, that might be one for next live stream. I'll put it on the list and see if there's any truth behind those rumors. So yeah, let me check that out. So King Korean GME, yep, cool. BB, who is BB? BlackBerry, yeah, I saw that massive increase. One of my friends messaged me about BlackBerry. Look at this vertical jump. That's crazy. BlackBerry been around for a long time. I could not tell you what they do at the moment. I know they used to make the little phones, which were really cool, but got crushed by the iPhone. And then when smartphones came along, they couldn't keep up. So, but I know the White House had to use Blackberries for a long time before they were replaced, maybe by iPhones. But I'd like to know why that stock went up so much. Maybe someone knows. Let me know in the comments. But maybe BlackBerry, certainly one for next video. I like that idea. And AMC, let's have a look. AMC Entertainment in Kansas. Yeah, big growth. GameStop. Yeah. Or are you talking GME GameStop? Because I saw GameStop had not the ASX GME. Apologies. GameStop, yes, saw this. Huge gains, 100% in a day. God, what have they done? I don't know. What's behind the 8,000% run? Elon Musk pumped it up. That makes a bit more sense. I wasn't seeing a lot of growth in that other one. So, sorry guys. Yeah, GameStop, another one. BlackBerry, GameStop, awesome ones to chat about. Might be worth a dedicated video, for sure. Great comment, King Korean. Appreciate it. Nico, your thoughts on B-Bus? Someone was pumping it up last night on another channel. Cool. Let's have a look. JP Morgan, beta builders, trading on BATS. What's BATS? Exchange. Global Stock Exchange operator. I'm not familiar with that. ETF, beta builders. Okay. Any reason in particular? Well, it's got a nice sort of stock price movement there. Any reasons on that one, Nico? Let me know what were some of the comments that made that one appealing. I'd like to know if there's some good reasoning there. I'll certainly have a look at it. Let's have a look. Eli, how you doing? Was watching Triple M and held Axe about 2 years ago. Oh, bugger. Yeah, wish you'd held on. Wish I'd known about it earlier for sure. Watching Triple M, it's a nice one to have in the back pocket if you're looking for a bit of a dividend stock. Certainly pays a consistent dividend. Might even pay it like monthly or quarterly. A lot of the US stocks do that. Australian stocks, biannual dividends, which kind of sucks a bit for cash flow, but it's just the way it is. Eli, I think Axe are way too diversified. I don't know. Yeah, I mean they're the initial thoughts I had. I mean, are you doing quantum computing or are you mining minerals? And as I said, I can't see the main advantage of that. Yes, it's a vertical supply chain, but we know that that's not necessarily an effective way to run a business. We know A2 Milk, for example, subcontracts a lot of their supply chain out. So, yeah. GameStop, King Korean, yes, that's got it. I did get it eventually. Yep, cool. I did see that. That would be a great one to do a video on. So Reddit users, Wall Street bets, basically pumping GameStop because hedge funds were shorting it. Retail investor versus hedge funds, lol. Massive meme. Shit. A meme-based investment frenzy. Good day for Vol. Oh, not again. You're joking. Let's have a look. Vulcan Energy. We did that a couple of live streams ago. Another 20%. I was watching, so it's had a bit of a rebound. Cool. I was watching ASX investor looking at Vulcan. I think he got in. He had a position, even though he might have got in at like $6 or something, maybe at this dip, saying that he was happy with the business structure, and didn't mind that the price looked high. He was just keen, and I think it's not a bad idea. Certainly a compelling business model that they've got going there, and follows that theme that renewable or mineral mining contractors or mining companies that can produce what they pull out of the ground in a renewable and sustainable fashion is going to be potentially even a requirement going forward, especially for auto manufacturers. We know that all the European emission standards are so strict, and that it might carry over once gasoline is out of the picture. They may be looking at how much energy has gone into creating your car and start putting restrictions on that. And if that's the way things go, then Vulcan Energy is going to be a huge player in that industry. I thought Michael Burry bought stocks in games. Yeah, okay. Interesting. GameStop. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. I'm going to have to do a look into GameStop for sure, I think. Basically, stocks that are being shorted by big hedge funds are being pumped by Reddit users. Yep. As a meme to get back at institutional funds. Yeah, that's it. But institutional funds do have a lot of money to play with. Yeah, so you're saying they're shorting them, and then people are going, yeah, let's ruin their day and pump it up. Yeah, interesting. Make them lose money. So is there any substance to the GameStop rise except for the big meme? If so, I'd be getting out. But yeah, B-Bus is $1.45 via ComSec. You might have the wrong company. Oh yeah, okay. Let me have a quick look again. Maybe beta shares. Yeah. Strong Bear Hedge Fund. Currency hedge. Oh, interesting. And a 1% fall in the US share market. So what is your strategy to hold a little bit of this just in case we have a market crash? You've sort of got a bit of a cushion in your portfolio. What's your strategy? How much of that are you holding? Is it 5%, 2%, maybe 10%? I guess it depends how bearish you are. A good way, or maybe a good strategy to purchase this stock. Not advice, of course, as always, but I've heard of a strategy that if you're a bond holder, for example, and the market starts going downhill, your stocks slide in value, but your bonds maintain or might go up slightly. So the strategy is, as the market drops, you sell off some bonds at each 5% increment, or on a daily basis or weekly, and with the sale of bonds you buy stocks at reduced prices. So if you've timed it right, by the end of the market crash you'll have sold all your bonds and reinvested it all into stocks for those stocks to go back up again, and then when you think the market's overvalued you start buying bonds again. So could you use that strategy for B-Bus? I'd be interested to know how you're going about it, Nico. Let me know. Mona BTH, let's have a quick look. Big Tin Can. Yeah, I've seen videos about Big Tin Can, and honestly, I am not up to date with what this company does. Let's have a quick look. So, provision of an integrated online platform called Big Tin Can Hub, collaborative and secure solution that delivers the relevant content to the right users directly. What content? That's a little bit vague. How have they gone? Yeah, so nice price movement, bit of a dip during the pandemic, and it looks to be, at becoming a bit of a discount at the moment. Okay, anything that really, performance 1 year, 20%. Are they profitable? No, they're not. Anything that sort of makes you keen about Big Tin Can, Mona? Let me know your thoughts. If you can convince me, I'll make a video on them for sure. I have seen lots of guys make videos about big tin can. Haven't watched any of them, admittedly. Maybe I should go and do that first. But yeah, if you've got anything you'd like to say, please let me know. King Korean, yeah, I had B-Bus when March crashed. Wow. Beta shares shorting ETF against the market. Yeah, great for when the market's crashing. So what percentage of your portfolio did you hold? Be interested to know. On a serious note, Lake Resources went up 50%. Yeah, I heard some chat about Lake. I think Lake are in South America, and they're not mining the rock form of lithium. They have it's the water containing lithium that evaporates and it becomes a lithium salt. There's two kinds of lithium. I think there's spodumene, lithium, spodumene versus brine. Yeah, so brine is the one that Lake Resources have, which is that one that I think mainly originates in South America. Lake Resources has kicked off a feasibility study, lithium brine project in the Catamarca province in Argentina. Yep, cool. So, not sure if they are they mining or are they still speculating? 40 cents, so maybe a small market cap. Yeah, 400 mil, it's not too small. And I wonder, are they profitable? Let's have a look. Market index. Huge gains. Holy cow. Look at that. 700%. Been doing alright if you've been holding onto them. So we're looking for earnings per share. So not quite profitable. Not covered by a major broker, so it's relatively unknown. And who owns it? Simon. Is he one of the directors? Not that I can see. Citicorp. Stevens there, he's got 1%. Yeah. I wonder who this guy is. Entrepreneur. Astute beyond his years. Interesting. Yeah, okay. If you know who this guy is, let me know and why he's the top shareholder and not a director. That's interesting. Yeah, Lake Resources also could be worth a video. We saw that price movement, pretty crazy. Yeah, what, 700% in a year. Other lithium guys, Pilbara, all pretty hyped up at the moment. I'd like to think the lithium craze is back, and it's probably because the price of lithium is starting to recover. That drives a lot of it. Mona, TPW down today. What are your thoughts about this? Let's have a look. Temple and Webster. Yeah, certainly one I was looking at. Yeah, when I was working from home in the middle of the pandemic, as I think we all were, and obviously taking a hit at the moment. So still great growth over the last 5 years. All-time highs were back in October. Insider selling, it looks like. Simply Wall Street. So before, yeah, okay. Co-founder, biggest insider sale, 24 mil he sold. Wow. But I wonder what portion it is. It was 42% of his holding, potentially taking profits. It's never a good sign, but it doesn't mean necessarily that it's bad news. So insiders, Temple and Webster insiders own 15%. That's significant ownership. So look, it's not like the owners are completely out of the business. Interesting point, good pickup, Mona. That's obviously a bit of a drop. I'm not in Temple and Webster personally. I am in Kogan, which also hasn't been faring so well, but probably not as bad as that. We did see Mr. Kogan, I think, sell out big time at a Kogan, which is fair enough. They were at a huge stock price and way overvalued at the time that he sold out. So he made a good profit, and it doesn't mean that he doesn't have faith in the business. It just means that he saw an opportunity, and that was about it. But Temple and Webster, yeah, I'd be watching it carefully. Certainly, their next lot of results will reveal more. I think we're seeing a whole round of quarterly results in February, so keep your eye on that one for sure. Hazer had a good run today. Pure play hydrogen, yep, we spoke about that the other live stream. It was interesting to watch Andrew Forrester, Fortescue Metals Group CEO, talk about green hydrogen on ABC. Yeah, that might be worth a look. I've seen Fortescue have a bit of an angle that they want to go down that pathway. Certainly, they're going to need to eventually. But yeah, and also Fortescue have a major reliance on China. They're probably exporting like 80 or 90% of their minerals to China. So it would make sense for them to want to diversify a little bit. I think it's a good direction for a miner like them. Nico, no position as yet, but looking at giving Lake Resources a decent pump if I find a decent entry point. Yeah, so looking for a bit of a roll off top, good strategy. I mean, yeah, it's never a great idea to go in when it's going up in a straight line unless you're in and out very quickly. It's good to watch and see where that stock settles. So thoughts on Papa Joe declaring all government vehicles be changed to EV? Yeah, so it's not all vehicles, and it's not as strong as some of the laws we've seen or some of the precedent we've seen set in the UK and other parts of Europe. It's certainly a shift, and we know the Democrats will always be more on that path than the Republicans, and yeah, he certainly won't be imposing any widespread rules over what can and can't be sold in the US. We know they all love their cars and they love their gas, and their gas is very cheap because they are self-sufficient in gas thanks to fracking, and they also have their tentacles all over the Middle East and have good deals to get cheap gas. So that's that. Need nickel miner that mines sustainably. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that would be the key thing to look for, would be an ASX miner who has a vision for mining sustainably like Vulcan does, but maybe based here for those heavy metals. So yeah, that's one to watch. I haven't found them yet. I don't know who it is, and I think it might certainly be something that a lot of miners are looking at given the growth in the share price that we've seen of Vulcan. So it might be a bit of a change in strategy for a number of companies. Nico heard about RMC. Let me have a look at RMC. Resimac. Oh, I haven't heard of it, no. Almost $1 billion market cap. And what do they do? Residential mortgage lender. Ooh. Don't know about that one. Looks okay. Yeah, a lot of growth. I wonder why. I wonder what's fueling that. Is it the low interest rates? Multi-channel distribution business in prime and specialist lending. So is that business lending? I'm not sure. Good gains. Profitable. Cool. Is there anything you like in particular about that one, the ball? Yeah, let me know if there is something that tickles your fancy about RMC, or you've got maybe some insider knowledge on it. Yeah, that would be great. So share that with me for sure. John, PLL with the gains today. Let's have a look. Piedmont, yeah, gone up massively. So I wonder if this was on the back of an announcement or some results. Motley Fool has always got our back. Lithium miner shares were up to 32%, record high of 82. Investors were buying. No news. A number of lithium miners were on the charge. We know Vulcan, we know Lake, Yeah, looks like just following the trend as it so often goes. So yeah, there you go, John. My thoughts on that. Yeah, there's a lithium hype train at the moment. If you're on it, great. If you're not, I don't know. Are you keen to jump in? For me, I'm happy to sit and wait and look at maybe some hydrogen stocks on the side. I think lithium is certainly very highly pumped up at the moment. Doesn't mean that it's not worthy of being in that place. But again, we have seen this before. So if we have a look at something like Galaxy Resources, which I bought into the last time lithium pumped up, have a look at that. So yeah, this steep price movement and then a slow and long deflation and up we go again. So, and Piedmont, or not Piedmont, but Pilbara Materials as well, or Pilbara Minerals, pardon me, same sort of thing. So we had this massive lithium pump up, and then it just spent the next four years going back downhill. Only if you were very patient and you'd bought at the end of 2017, you might have just recovered your money now. So I'm not jumping in at the moment. It's really got to do with the lithium price. If we look at that price chart and the way that looks, let me make that bigger. Yeah, if we make that bigger, you can see that price movement for Pilbara, lithium miner, and then we go to the lithium spot price chart, and we have a look at how similar that is. So we can get it from 2017. Is that familiar or what? Oh, that's 1 day, 1 month. It's not long enough. Oh, so that is 2017. Yep. So if we compare the pair, I'll bring up, who was it? Pilbara. If we check out this 5-year price trend, I'll take a snip, and then we look at, yeah, that lithium price back in 2017, we were peaking, peak of, yeah, end of 2017 there, $1.11, and then we've just been a slow ride down. So it's directly related, and we've got this small jump in the price of lithium, coupled with a huge push towards EVs that hasn't really materialized yet, and we're seeing this disproportionate jump in the price of lithium stocks, in my opinion. Of course, do your own research and make your own investing decisions based on what you think, but it's always good to chat and discuss. Personally, I think that is a disproportional jump based on a bit of hype and a small increase in the price of lithium. But I reckon if the price of lithium dropped off again, it might be bad news. But if it doesn't and it continues on the upward pathway, which is what the market is suggesting it will do, then we could expect to see this continue to go up. So, sorry, mate, I've moved a little bit closer to the mic. I hope that's better. If you're having trouble hearing me, please let me know. When I hear them, I've had one other person mention that, but when I've heard them on replay, they sound okay. So, give me some feedback if that's the case, and I'll try and make it a bit louder. Joe, g'day, how are you? Good to see you join the show. King Korean, will you be able to look into some of the ARK ETFs? They have a really cool ETF on genomics. Yeah, I think you mentioned that last live stream, so I will put it down on the list. I'll need a little bit of time to have a look at that one. So let me do that and come back to you on, what are we doing at Sunday mornings live stream. So I think that'll be good. I've got 3 on the list there: GameStop, BlackBerry, and ARK. If you've got another one, let me know. Otherwise, I think I might wrap this one up, guys. It's been another great live stream. Thank you so much for joining me, as always. Again, I'll have another live stream on Sunday, and we'll do it, I think, at 10 a.m. I'll make a community post about that, so make sure to join in on that one. But until next time, guys. A couple more comments have come in. BC, I'm sorry, we're just about to wrap this one up, but thanks for tuning in. I'm sure you'll catch it on the replay. SOR, no. And Vulcan, yes, we touched on a little bit. SOR, look, let me pop it on the list just for you. I'll have a look at that one on Sunday, if you don't mind. Eli, what do you think about? Yeah, that's the SAPC. Is that the? I've read some news about this. It's not the South Australian Productivity Commission. SPACs. I think you mean SPACs, which is the special purpose acquisition company, which is the blank check investing approach. Yeah, maybe worth a video. Very interesting. And we've seen, companies, very successful companies come out of this approach, and it seems to be a growing trend. So yeah, definitely one to look at. Might be worth, I don't know if I'll squeeze in on Sunday, it might be worth its own video, but yes, certainly one to talk about. Let me come back to you. I'll do some reading and we'll go over that. But yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks Joe. Have a good night, mate. I'll see you on Sunday. Thanks Pat. Cheers for joining me. Krez, thanks mate. Cheers. Chelsea, thank you very much. I will see you on Sunday. BC, yep, Sunday for sure. Make sure to be there. Not too early this Sunday. Sorry about the 9 a.m. last Saturday. Eli, thank you, mate. Thanks for joining. Ona, thanks so much. Thanks for all your comments. BC, thanks. Good night. Spax, yep, you got it. I knew what you meant, mate. All good. Good night, Eli. Cheers, guys. I will see you on Sunday. Thanks for watching. Cheers.